Good evening. I want to welcome you to the Monday, April 14th regular meeting of the Board of Wilmette Park Commissioners. May I please have a roll call?
Commissioner Leahy.
Here.
Commissioner Frazier.
Here.
Commissioner Clark.
Here.
Commissioner Goebel.
Here.
Commissioner Murdoch.
Here.
Commissioner Duffy.
Present.
Commissioner Koslowskis.
Here. We have a quorum. Thank you. Second on our agenda this evening is the consent. We have 6 items on consent. The agenda 2.3, the minutes from February 24th, have been amended, and they were edited earlier today, and the edits are included in the packets that are printed over there. Commissioners have all received those via email, so those are the minutes that we are approving, not those that were published on Friday. So with that, may I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Yes, I move to approve the consent agenda of the April 14th regular meeting of the Board of Park Commissioners, a copy of which is to be attached to and become a permanent part of the minutes of this meeting.
I second.
Okay. Do we have anything that commissioners would like to remove from the consent?
I just have, I think the minutes on January 13th, there's kind of an awkward paragraph. I mean, I think it's factually correct, but maybe it's more. So I'm going to pull those minutes and I'll work with Michelle.
For the regular board meeting or the special?
The January 13th, oh no, the regular board meeting, January 13th regular board meeting. I would like to.
We're going to remove
2.2.
2.2.
And to be honest with you, so I know section 1, I had a couple of comments as well. So I would support that to remove that from the consent agenda.
Very good.
Anything else? So we will entertain, the motion is now to approve the consent with the exception of 2.2. Should we vote on that?
Commissioner Leahy.
Yes.
Commissioner Frazier.
Yes.
Commissioner Clark.
Yes.
Commissioner Goebel.
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch.
Yes.
Commissioner Duffy.
Yes.
Commissioner Koslowskis.
Yes.
Consent agenda is approved.
Thank you. That brings us to agenda item 3, communications and correspondence. There was a couple emails from the community, slightly out of order in our packet, but they were there. Does any commissioner have additional information to add for this section? Okay, so then that brings us to public comment, recognition of visitors. Thank you all for being here this evening. I'll just reiterate what we do now on a regular basis. If you do plan to address the board this evening, we ask that you please come up to the podium and speak into the microphone. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes. Director Resnick will notify you when there's 1 minute remaining, 30 seconds remaining, and when you are out of time by holding up a sign and giving a verbal cue. Everything said during the meeting is recorded and broadcast live on Channel 6. Please note that the full policy for public comment is printed on page 3 of the meeting packets. There's some over here on the table if you need one. And that explains the procedures that the board adheres to in order to maintain a respectful and efficient meeting. I'd like to remind everyone that we are a community of neighbors, and as such, we'd like our meetings to be as civil and courteous as possible. So with that, may I see a show of hands of anyone else who would like to address the board this evening? Just 2 hands? Okay. Oh, we've doubled. This is an auction. 4, 5. Okay, well, I'm going to start on this side of the room because I don't have, I do have a sign-in sheet. Okay, I will go with the sign-in sheet, and then I'll work my way across the room. So first we have Joan O.
Hello, my name is Joan O, and I've been a Wilmette resident for most of my life. I am here with a proposal signed by 84 Wilmette residents. It's in the agenda packet, so I'm just going to make a few points. We are asking the board to expand for the 2025 season the free non-access area of Wilmette's lakefront to include just a portion of South Beach and to get real community input. We ask you to commit to a comprehensive, not predetermined community-wide survey about the future of South Beach, putting all the options on the table. The Park District's current plan is flawed in that it makes the Cove the only free non-swimming area, and the Cove will also be used for paddleboard storage and launching, trail in, trail out launching, and it's next to the dog beach. Dogs notoriously do not respect fences, even when their owners and they have good intentions. This will lead to potential overcrowding and an atmosphere unsuited to reflection, relaxation, or play, which is what people seem to want. While I'm sure it is not your intention, it seems like a plan that is destined and designed to fail. Therefore, we propose immediately expanding the free non-swimming area to include a portion of South Beach directly in front of and to the south of Access Point 4, and this will work. There will still be managed access. Staff will still patrol the area. The Park District has been moving a lot of sand around to increase the height of the dunes, so with creative sand shifting and strategic fencing, the staff can check wristbands between the swimming and non-swimming areas as they did for decades. This requires no permanent infrastructure, probably no increased staffing, and it makes use of the proposed improved staff training time, the promised improved signage, and the recently updated communications. Finally, the Park District has asked for our patience. The Park District says it will monitor the cove to determine if it is meeting the needs of our community and visitors, and that it is open to making adjustments as needed. The Park District says it welcomes feedback. This is feedback. Make the adjustments now. The plan is flawed. We think there is a better way. This is not a wait-and-see situation. Summer is too short and too precious, and the proposal that 84 residents signed, and I don't know that many people really, I'm kind of shy, is reasonable. We should start with the least restrictive
30
options.
seconds.
Thank you, and try in good faith to put that plan into practice.
Thank you for your comments, Joan. Alan Golden.
Alan Golden, 2516 Laurel. While this is about Gilson, it's not about South Beach. Because we have a lot of beach, since historically been pretty short, now it's pretty wide. And what I would like to suggest, and we're getting ready for sailing season, we're all very excited about that, is to move that row of boats that are right next to the road about another 2 feet east, and then increase the space between each boat from about 2 feet to about 3 feet. It's not going to take up that much more beach, but it'll give us a little more room to work around our boats. And for those of us who have a space right along the road, right underneath that very thin layer of sand is a solid layer of clay. They were only able to get my sand auger in about 6 inches this year, which is not enough to hold the boat during a windstorm if something were to come up. Moving a little bit to the east, not very much, will enable them to get into sand and get away from that clay layer, which is right along the road. So just a suggestion. I'd pass it on to staff, and they can take a look at it. But anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. You've noted these. Anastasia Royal.
Hello. I have a few things to talk about. First of all, there in the last package for the last meeting, there was a bill that is going to be the statewide looking at the entire Illinois lakefront, and I think it's called HB 6538 or some number. I may not have that correct, but I did not appreciate the interim director's letter, and I know you meant it in good faith, but saying that residents, most of us residents did not want the state to get involved, because I know lots of people who do want the state to get involved because they feel that the Wilmette Park Board has been deaf to their pleas to keep Gilson Park the way it has been historically. And I know you're very tired of hearing this, but we're very tired of having a beach that is virtually unable to be used since September 3rd, which was my birthday. And I remember it very clearly because people were wandering around like free atoms, like free radicals in an atom, not knowing where to go. And I almost was hit by a car because you changed the entrance to the exit, and a man came out like a bat out of hell and almost killed me. And people were wandering around with their windows opening, wondering which way to go. And it still looks ridiculous. My brother just came into town yesterday, and said, what is going on with Gilson? He grew up here and said, it looks like a war zone. It does look like a war zone. And this is just really poor management. And I understand that there's construction sites, but this is where we all go, what we all love the most in Wilmette. We're not able to use it. And you've given us a postage stamp now for the little cove that you're going to do. It's a very tiny area. And also, you have made another roped out fence area. The whole thing, I looked at it today, there's roping. It looks like you're going into a concert for the VIP section. This is not something we would like. And so I have a little song for you. I'm dreaming of a wide expanse of Gilson, just like the one I used to know, where the waves and ripples glisten and children listen to hear seagulls swim over the sand. I'm dreaming of a wide, unfettered Gilson, with every campaign card I write. May the Wilmette Park Board stop controlling us because we won't give up the fight. And may all your fences fall down in the night. Thank you.
Thank you, Anastasia. Would you like to go next?
Hi, I'm Connie Siegel. I didn't come planned to speak, but I just want to say I've been down there now with the rope fence, and yes, it's less obtrusive than the wooden slatted fence, but I know that right now I'm looking at it without all the stands for the lifeguards and the people who check your bags and all that. So, and as far as the cove, I'm like Anastasia. It's like, and other people have said it too. It's just like this little postage stamp where I think the paddleboard people go in and out. And I've been down there when dogs have swam around in the lake and come running up into that sand area. So it's not the most ideal spot. And it does feel a little offensive that, okay, we'll give all you people who don't like this fence, this little spot. And so I hope you take that into consideration. And the signage, I was down there and I'm sitting on a bench and it's like, but the signs are right smack dab in the middle of the view. I don't know if they could be put a little to the side. Just a thought. And I also noticed that you have replaced a couple of wooden benches, which were perfectly fine. And actually, it looked like a year ago you may have sanded them or power washed them. But now there's probably somebody donated new memorial plaques. So you're replacing them with those composite benches, which if you're disabled or you have back problems, those are not very good. You can't, they don't, and they're even not environmentally the best because water sits on top. They conduct cold and heat. And so I hope that you're not planning on taking all the wooden benches away, okay? So I just want to say that now before you move forward with whatever the next thing is you're going to do down there. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback. Okay, Mark, this is coming up.
Hello, Mark Weiermuller. Let's reset that timer. There we go. For people watching on TV, the timer is behind me, so I have to turn around and look at it, or I can ring my watch. So I might advocate for a new clock up front here. So again, my name is Mark Weiermuller. I speak at a lot of meetings all over the place, all over the state, mostly about less taxes, smaller government. Illinois has 9,000 units of government, 43,000 elected officials, you guys being, 7 of them. And it's just a huge amount of government, huge amount of taxes. So that's what I speak about. Some people call me Mr. Wilmette. I was on the cover of Wilmette magazine once. And so people are like, wow, how'd that guy get on the cover? On the radio, sometimes they call me man on the street because I go to a lot of things. Someone recently called me the town crier because all I do is cry about things. But I do cry about property taxes. And then somebody else said, I'm the conscience of Wilmette. So I'm speaking for a lot of people about a lot of issues. I don't have a poem or a song or anything, but I will mention the Titanic hit an iceberg 113 years ago today and then sank 4 hours later tomorrow. Also, President Lincoln was assassinated 160 years ago today. So that's nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but I'm minute 49 seconds. My main concern tonight is I'm hoping the Park District can weigh in on the issues with Howard Park being taken away for the new police station that is going to be $50 to $60 to $70 million. I'm surprised the Park District hasn't mentioned this. One thing a lot of people don't realize is Howard Park is not a Wilmette Park. It's owned by the village, which is strange. It should be called Village of Wilmette Howard Park or something. So they can do whatever they want with it, and you guys can't really do anything because you guys run it, but it's a village park. So I'm concerned about Howard Park being used for the police station. My other concern is Beth Hillel congregation. I would like you guys to sell it. You guys paid $5.5 million. I think you have enough land. I'd like to get it back on the tax base. Something else, people, 101, I should have brought my watch. I might buy a big egg timer for you guys. That'd be kind of fun. But I guess the police station is, they're going to tear it down for 2 years, and then they're going to rent Beth Hillel congregation. The congregation's going to move out, and then they're going to rent it, and then they're going to spend $439,000 to renovate it as a temporary 2-year police station. So this is just kind of a strange thing. They're going to spend $439,000 on a Park District property, and then they're going to build a $62 million police station. So that's all I've got. I love Wilmette. I want less taxes. Again, I'm embarrassed I have no song or poem. But again, Mark Weiermiller, and I basically want less property taxes. I have 19 seconds. I'll forego my last 19 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mark.
Facebook page.
Before I call the next person, just because Mark often doesn't stay for the end of the meeting, let me answer one of the questions that you've brought up a few times now. The Park District has commented many times regarding Howard Park. We worked very closely with the village, requesting them to continue refine their plans to reduce their impact on that park. You are correct, the village owns the property and leases, shares it back to the Park District to program, and that cooperation has existed for a long time and intends to continue. And I would say that with our board's advocacy, that helped reduce the impact down to the something like 2%, I believe, where they've landed on. I would encourage you for the financials of their report to check in with their reports and their meetings. I don't think they're up at 60 million, but that's a little bit off topic for us. But to that question, I want to make sure you've had the answer because I know you've brought that up in several meetings, and the Park District has publicly spoken about Howard Park many times. So I want to make sure you knew that. So again, thank you for your comments. Some of your other questions maybe will be addressed later, or we can, if you have questions, you can email staff about additional questions regarding the Beth Hillel lease. With that, we are working.
And actually, it is for the village to talk about the cost, but I think Mark mentioned 62 million. The most recent number I've heard is just over 50 million.
No, it's
so
not.
It's important that good information is out there.
Right. Since we're all being watched and recorded. So thank you again. Moving across the room this way, did I have anyone else on this side of the room that wanted to speak this evening? Okay, did I have, Alan, you already spoke. Anyone else over here? Okay, no one else for public comment tonight? Going once, going twice? Okay, thank you all for public comment. That will conclude that section. We'll move into staff reports, starting with the executive director report.
Up to speed on this one. Nothing that's not in my written report. I did want to let everyone know that Superintendent Foy is not here tonight, so if you have any questions on her report, when that comes up, I will be answering them to the best of my ability. But my report's what's written. Oh, thank you very much.
Here.
The P card we spoke about last at the cow. The GPS for the golf carts is a standard operating lease. The solar farm, there will be some questions on that, I understand. And then the bus replacement, this is something that probably the public would want to hear about. We had budgeted to do some roof repairs at the CRC, or I'm sorry, at Centennial this year because of the cooling tower. Thank you, Michelle. Because of the cooling tower on the roof, that has to be moved. The cost of that is much larger than we budgeted. So that $350,000 will not be spent this year. We had originally had the replacement of our 2014 60-passenger bus on the 2025 capital, but we moved it to 26 to save a few dollars this year. Since the roof won't be done this year, we were able to move up the bus. Right now, there's a bus that was ordered by another entity, and it is not being picked up. We are able to get it through a purchase program for $165,000. If we order one, it'll take us somewhere into the fall for delivery, and it would be $180,000 to $200,000, assuming the tariffs don't affect parts. So the staff is recommending we go ahead and purchase the bus that's already on a lot. I know that's a lot to digest, I'm sorry.
And that is not on our agenda for motions? Is that because?
It is.
It's under new business.
It's 7.2.
7.2.
It is there, okay, great. Okay. we'll go on to Parks and Planning report. Parks and Planning report is written. Not as many pictures as usual, but you still want to highlight some?
I just am amazed at the work they do, even on this back page. If you look at the second page of it, you can see what looks like the posts for the post and rope down at at South Beach. Although that could be, that is, it's what
I imagine we saved a good amount of money by that.
well, you know, these, so it's amazing, the staff.
They're super
that we have.
talented.
Yeah, they
it's really
can do so
remarkable.
much work. I wish they could do more for us, save us money. You know, maybe if they could have replaced the water heaters at the golf course, we could have saved a couple of bucks. I say that with a smile, my tongue in my cheek.
Does that
But
lead us into the golf report? Then?
And I had the chance to see the pool boilers that were being replaced, and those were original to the facility. So it's great that we got as much use out of them as we did.
Okay.
If I could ask the board for a little bit of feedback, the new superintendent of Parks and Planning, who starts next Monday, will be writing the next report for the May meeting. And I would like a little, just feedback. Is this the format you like? Is this the correct amount of pictures? Is there more information you're interested in? So over the next couple of weeks, if you have time to think about it, let me know so I can give him some direction on what's the best format for his report.
I think he shouldn't worry about the first one.
I gotta do it again?
Well, just that, whatever, well, it can't be perfect the first time.
I think this is mentioned in the HR and operations report, but this is a good point to mention that the superintendent of Parks and Planning has been hired and will be starting April 21st, if I have that correct.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one? It's a Monday. So we're very excited about that. Okay, let's bring up the golf report. Adam, are you ready? Welcome back to the agenda. You were
Hello, everyone.
overlooked
Yeah.
for a season.
Yeah, thanks.
did you bring any pictures?
It'll be, not this time. The cow in May, yeah, that's to look forward to. Masters weekend kicks off the golf season, which we had this past weekend. Weather is finally starting to break for us. So golf's really starting to pick up. Things are starting to turn green. We did our permanent tee time lottery on the 9th of April. We had a couple less groups this year than last year. We had 3 groups that came from Evanston Golf Club that'll be going back to Evanston when it reopens in June. And we had a group of Winnetka residents go back and play their course on weekends. We did pick up one more group of Wilmette residents that we didn't have last year. So as our numbers come in for 2025, we're starting to look at memberships for right now. We should be at or above what we've budgeted in the prior year in resident memberships, but we're going to be a little below in non-residents, just with a little change in the mix of what we have going on at the golf course. Nothing to be concerned about, but it'll be a little less than last year with some of these folks playing other places because their golf courses are reopening. Things are starting to green up on the golf course. Our leagues and permanent tee times will start on May 1st. The golf course will be closed on April 21st and 22nd for green aerification. Something that happens every year. And that's all I have. Any questions about golf?
Thank you. Looking forward to a great season. Thank you.
Thanks.
The recreation report, Superintendent Merrill.
Hello. March is actually a pretty quiet month. It's a transition time, as many of you or us went on spring break. So it marks the break between winter session and the spring session. So there's not a lot more to report other than what's in the report. But I do have a couple things that are a little bit ahead of schedule. You may have read in there in the gymnastics thing that they hinted that they had gone to the state competition this past weekend. And it's kind of too good a news to sit on for another month, and there'll be some publicity coming out. But we actually had 5 state champions. We placed first in one of each of the events and the all around at a different level. So there'll be some publicity coming out. But our Excel team, Sarah Emery, our gymnastics manager, is super proud of them, and it was really cool. And she's like, "I'm sorry, this is after the board report," but I was like, "That's okay. We'll take these late reports as much as we can."
It's
So
really
there'll be more in
exciting.
the report, but it's really cool.
I have to plug in, my niece was trained at Wilmette, and then she was a state high school champion as well. So it's a great program. Hopefully a bunch of these kids will be high school state champions as well.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
it's so exciting because a park district affords people the opportunity to do these things that may not be possible at a private academy. So it's really wonderful.
Yeah, and to expand on that, not to go into too much for the future, it'll be next month, but we're working on an expansion of our high school program to create some more teams and more opportunity for those kids that are in that bridge between when they finish with us and before they go on and compete somewhere else. So our gymnastics team, our green team at Rec has been doing an awesome job cultivating this cool new thing. And so I'll just leave that out there as a teaser for you. One other thing to mention, and since we don't have a Parks and Planning report, I do, and they wouldn't probably be comfortable saying it, but the team that crafted the posts down there and then installed them, if you haven't seen it yet, drive by, take a look. They actually look very nice. They look like they've always supposed to be there. Like they blend right in. And I know they've taken a lot of pride in the way they constructed them and the way they built them. So cheers to them for the hard work they did put into that. All the craftsman stuff they do is fantastic. But I was like, you guys really busted your humps and did a lot of work and got all this done for us. And it's meaningful. So thank you to them just from the rec side of things. The timing of this also, registration for our before and after school care program took place in April, but the information came out in March. So I thought it might be worth just clearing up a few things. I know Allie had a couple questions, and some of you have gotten some questions around the community. I'm in the network too, and I hear the questions and those types of things. But the registration that just took place is for our before and after school recreation program. You've probably heard the terms after school clubs, campus clubs, and care. Totally crazy. Like I really still can get a bit mixed up in my head when I think about it. So we saw that as a barrier, and we eliminated the names of all those programs. And now we did a parent survey through the schools to find out what the needs and wants were of people for before and after school care. So we came up with a plan. Mostly Caitlin came up with the plan on how we were going to administer stuff in the schools. Parents said they would really prefer their children to stay at their school after school if they could. So the example that I'll give is Central. At Central before, kids, if they wanted after school care, would get on a bus and they would go to the Lakeview Center. Or they would stay at school and they would take one of our after school clubs, which is an enrichment program. So let's say STEAM or cheerleading, something like that. Those were vendor programs. It created a sense, some parents or families use that as after school care because they needed to go somewhere and do something. No fault of their own, they did what they had to do, but they would find that their child wasn't interested in that particular activity, so they would want to switch them to something else, and we would try to be accommodating. It created lots of logistical issues with the schools. Because they were vendor programs, we had less hands-on, less control over the product we were providing, the supervision of the staff, and everything else. So the new program, for example, at Central is an after-school rec program. So kids can sign up through us, which they started to do. They can stay there after school until 6 p.m. That doesn't come with any programming outside of our staff entertaining them, doing various recreation things, which is kind of what our people are supposed to be good at anyway. Coming down the line, as we get into the fall, that's when the enrichment programs will then be available. Enrichment programs are seasonal. There are those 8 to 9 week sessions based on the season where a family later this summer will get eyes on what the fall programming is, just like our regular early fall programming, and they'll be able to choose what enrichment programs they want to enroll at their school for that period. They don't have to be in our after-school care program. It will be the same experience for them registering. The exception being that now, instead of having just a staff person on site there, we'll have this safety network where all the kids are going to go to the cafeteria, for example, after school. Our staff will welcome them, make sure they get to their place, and if for some reason mom or dad were late at 4:31, they have a place to go that's not supervised by a vendor, it's supervised by a park district staff. So it's a safety net for families. It's an opportunity to provide care, for example, at Central, where we didn't know that there was a need before until we started asking. And now we've already, as of today, have 22 families that signed up for full-time after-school care at Central starting in the fall. And then there's another several each day that have picked. Now we have the flexibility of choosing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Individual days, they get to completely script out their week. Sounds cumbersome, but it's actually easy. We've figured out an easy way to administer that. So that's the background on this little note in here about what's going on with before and after school care. That's been the biggest thing for us over the last few weeks, and I thought it was important to share. If you have specific questions, I'm happy to take them now. Otherwise, if you've heard things or hear things from people and they would like more information, we're more than happy to clear the air and share this with them. Caitlin and I are back on our circuit of meeting with PTAs and PTOs and school staff to make sure they understand all of this, because that's usually a source of information. If they get it right, then that's a good communication network for us.
So can I ask you a question?
Yes.
The way that you explain this, it doesn't sound like the same programs are going to be available to people as were available before, as an example, the cheerleading or the STEM or whatever. So are those programs still going to be available?
Yes.
Okay.
But they're seasonal. So we'll know here in several weeks, because we have to have all that planned out based on our production schedule, but they won't get released until the public until July, like prior to our fall enrollment. A lot of that is very dependent upon what's available at the school. Like we have typically a cafeteria and a gym space or the outdoor space at a school. If they have a PTA or PTO program that takes place in their gym, then we get second choice there, and sometimes we get to use what's left over. We're not complaining, that's just the reality. So each of these 8-week sessions, fall, early fall, late fall, winter, and spring, will may be different. Like some schools may have 2 classes offered at a time, some may only have 1, some may have 3, based upon what kind of space we have at the school to do this programming.
That's not any different than what it was before.
Correct.
Previously, were they seeing them sooner? Is that why there's some concern? Like at this time of sign up, were they seeing those enrichments?
It's because the new program, the program has changed. It just creates a little bit more attention to the topic, I think, which then creates a little bit more interest, which then spirals into some questions and concerns and everything else. I feel like it's pretty natural for people to be concerned, but there's no cause for alarm because nothing has actually really happened
But the
in terms
timing
of
of
that.
sign up for enrichment, you're saying, is the same this year as in prior years?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and something that was added too is schools like Mackenzie and Ramona that do not currently have after-school clubs or enrichment opportunities because of a survey that took place 5+ years ago. We'll be adding that back to those communities, which is really exciting. And you mentioned to me that by having the care portion of it at the school and not at places like Centennial or Lakeview Center, we're actually freeing up those facilities for a different type of programming, which could be very
rentals,
beneficial.
it could be more programming, and kids will still have the option of riding a bus to the CRC if they wanted to take. You could really go to Central Monday through Thursday, and then on Friday get on the bus, register for a day at the CRC, and then take a ceramics class on Friday evening. Like you'll have that level of flexibility where the menu is wide open again.
And can
now
change
for everyone.
that session over session.
Every 8 weeks you can
every 8
register for
weeks
something
versus
else.
locking in for a full year.
And even our after school care program, like you sign up for the entire year, but once a month, like at some point in the month, and you can choose to change your days. Like, so there is flexibility even within those to change your schedule. If people's schedules change, work schedules change, like there's flexibility involved in there. But it gives us enough lead time to make changes, to communicate these changes with the schools, so the schools aren't upset with us with making last minute changes about where their kiddos are going after school. And it really is, it solves a lot of issues for us, for parents, for schools. And so we're excited about those changes.
And if I understand correctly, because one letter email I saw had concerns about pickup time, that the 4:30 pickup time will still be, or there'll be, Barry, you can identify which pickup time. So it's not that the children have to stay till 6 or 6:30.
No.
Pick up, or,
The children will be released.
No, well, I know, but that was some concern.
We used to offer an early pickup time at 4:45 and then a late pickup time at 6 o'clock. And there was never any real monitoring of that. It just, and we didn't really mind if people stayed over, and we certainly don't mind if parents pick up kids early. Just to simplify the entire process across the board, everything now is just 6 o'clock. So if people still want to go home at 4:45, they can.
I will say thank you for the clarification, but we are on the precipice of perception becomes reality, and so I would say extra effort to communicate and reach out. Sometimes with PTAs don't necessarily reach everyone, JP or any other idea you have, because it was unusual to get that amount of correspondence that quick, at least from my perspective. And so that felt like, okay, I had full confidence that there was an answer here, but we just need to make sure it doesn't spiral, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I think the programming is described makes a lot of sense. It's very familiar from how it was a few years ago. And, my kids participated in after school rec. And I think what's really wonderful is the option to go to the CRC and do a class or do something else additionally. I was blown away that was offered in our community. So it's definitely an amenity and beneficial for the many families that have two working parents. We're an affluent community, but we're also there because of people's ability to work and know their kids are safe.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
This is just an aside. Do you, because I ran the Club Central 15 years ago again, but a lot of the staff, the school staff, paralegals and teachers were used for programming. And is that the case anymore? Because I know you said vendors, but do you have the opportunity?
We still do. We employ several District 39 employees. The challenge is, by contract, some of them have a gap where they have to be in their room or serving the school till a certain period of time, and they can't report to us until, sometimes there's a 15-minute gap either before school or after. We love that resource because they have the connection to the teachers, and it helps build those relationships with the other teachers and the school staff. So I can't guarantee that we have somebody from every school in there, but I think that we do.
You're saying that there is the option if it can be done.
And we last year we made an intentional effort to reach out to the paras at those schools through the school administrators and say, hey, if any of your people are looking for extra work, why leave? Stay here, work for the Park District, and let's build that. So we're going to continue to cultivate those relationships.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. All right. Thank you, guys.
The operations report, Superintendent Thomas. The Coneflower Classic is still coming up, right? Dave, should we highlight that before we end the rec report, since you also mentioned that in yours? For anyone that plays platform tennis, there's a great fundraiser for the Wilmette Foundation coming up April 23rd and 24th. So we encourage you to sign up for that.
I'm going to delete that part
Friday
from what
and
I was going to
Saturday.
say.
Oh, that was in your report. I'm sorry.
No, yes, it is. It's this is the last meeting before it happens, so space is still limited. Please make sure you go on and register while there's still spots available. So there's some really cool giveaways that you'll get if you register, and a lot of great people, great food, and a great time. I don't play paddle, but it looks like a lot of fun. So for those of you that do.
April 25th and April 26th, Friday and Saturday, and it's the
Friday and
fifth time
Saturday.
we've done it.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes.
And before we keep going, I just want to point out one other thing in the Parks and Recreation report, that the Wilmette's ice rink hosted a benefit for the families, or for the, sorry if I start getting crying, about the skaters who were killed in the airplane crash outside of Pentagon, in Washington, D.C. Sorry.
It was the staff really came together and helped put on a really, really wonderful event. So Rochelle and Florence and all the team over there that helped put that together, it was a really, really well-received event. I think Margaret got a great piece of feedback written in to you as well about that event that you shared at a staff meeting, which was really, really great. So, okay. So on to my report, but we have our first annual report. I brought my own copy here. You all should have one as well. There's a couple copies up at the front. It's a really, really exciting report that labor of love from literally every single department, touched this had a say in it between different pictures, different pieces of data, statistics, accomplishments. So it was really a great collaborative team effort and just a really great way to review what happened in 2024. We'll have this every single year. Right now, we were trying to be a little bit more sustainable and cost efficient and not print it. We have it up on our website. We've gotten 125 views on it so far. There's a specific e-blast that'll be coming out this week on it. So JP and I are continuing to look over the website for the different analytics. And if the numbers tell us to do so, we will be adding it to the May copy of our Explore More edition. So the postage remains the same, which is great. It'll just be a few more pages and be able to be included for everybody to look at in their homes. So I just want to say thank you for all the staff who put in all the efforts for it, because it really turned out to be a really beautiful report and one for years to come each year.
Can I ask you a quick question? So that mailing that you're talking about going out, how many households is that going to hit?
So we have to print it every household. So in Wilmette, so over 10,000.
So one of the more pressing pieces of feedback I got while I was running for re-election was about communication out to the community.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way that in that mailing, since it's going to every household, that we could put like a QR code or something for people then to sign up to receive emails from us?
Oh, sure.
In the future.
Yeah.
Because one of the bits of feedback I got was, hey, I can't get your emails. I'm not signed up for anything, so you don't have my email. Well, why don't you go to our website? Well, why should I do that? I'm too busy. Why don't you mail me something that then gives me the opportunity to sign up? And I said, well, what's the difference? And I was told that there is a difference. So why don't we give this a try and see if we can't collect some more email addresses to reach more people?
I think it's a great idea.
Thank you very much.
Does anybody know how many emails we have in our database?
23,000? 27,000. Say zero.
40,000.
40,000.
40. We have
$1.
over 40,000 email addresses in our database. Isn't that great?
That's great.
That's a lot. But we want more. We want more. I hear you.
People claim that they don't get our emails because they've never signed up for anything.
Yeah.
So
no, I think it's a great opportunity in the next Explore More to just, JP, I know you're listening, to put a QR code in there and make it easy for people. Why not? Awesome. Any more questions on the annual report?
Thank you.
Okay. Another fun piece of sneak peek, our sponsorship package isn't fully out there yet, but for Block Party, we have a new sponsorship booklet, talks about the event. I've heard many people asking about it, and if it's coming back this year, and yes, it's still coming back, September 6th, noon to 10 p.m. in Village Center. So that'll be a really fun event. We are gearing up for summer with the warmer weather, so looking forward to seeing you all there and the rest of the community. Other than that, the other piece of, I don't have one with me here, but is our Everybody Always initiative. That's been, you'll see it on the doors, all the entrances to our facilities and all of our vehicles, but we've gotten a few questions from different community businesses that have said, can I have one of those? Those are really great. And the answer is, yes, why wouldn't we want to support that inclusive initiative? But we just have to kind of do a little research and figure out the best way to get the information out there. So I had a call with New Trier Township earlier today. Anthony Austin from the library and I were emailing back and forth earlier this morning. We have the districts 39 and 37 that are on board and interested in finding a way to collaborate. And then, of course, lastly, the village. I'm going to the Human Relations Commission meeting later this week just to talk with them about the initiative, and everybody's just kind of, what can we do to help? And it's really just knowledge and support. So everybody's really interested in collaborating and continuing to find a way to broaden the initiative to the community. And I'm looking forward to finding ways for all of the local businesses and anybody, a resident, anybody that is interested in finding a way to share in the initiative, a way to do so. So that's a really exciting thing that's kind of been blossoming behind the scenes, and exciting for our social equity committee and the rest of, our team at the district as well. So, let's see. So we had our last job fair take place. Our positions are flying off the shelves. There's really not that many left for the summer. So many of them are closed, and we still have interviews lined up. But I mean, for it to be the beginning mid-April, we're in a really, really great spot for summer staffing. So kudos to everybody for getting their applications in, and all of our new staff we're going to have and all of our returning ones. Lucy provided some information for last year's objectives for the sustainability plan, as well as this first quarter of 2025. Many of the things within the sustainability plan are behind the scenes, and you might not know that they're happening, or there's policies or things being added to job descriptions, but something that you might actually see in our facilities are the new recycling guidelines. So they're pictures and images to really just help kids and adults, everybody understand. I mean, sometimes I still am confused, like, is this recyclable? You look on the bottom, there's some weird triangle with a number, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. But in the end, if it has a number on it, or if it has that sign, it's recyclable. The signs will show you what is, and then even things that are not. So if you have a question about it, it's just right there and an easy visual for people. We are also going to be partnering with the village to expand composting throughout the community. So the village is looking into a pilot program of 6 different locations to put composting bins. So some are at parks. They're looking at possibly Public Works or the Linden train station or the Metro lot or Thornwood Park. So they're trying to figure out the best locations throughout the community to give our residents an easy way to compost their items if they don't have a composting bin at their own home. So that pilot program will take off in sometime in the second quarter once they figure out exact locations. But it's an exciting thing for us to partner with them on and have them be able to use some of our spaces since it's the closest to where some people live in a certain neighborhood. So that's exciting too. And then lastly, where did it go? So I took note, Connie, of your sign or your question or comment about the signage at the lakefront. I have been down there. I've seen the post and rope. I do agree that it looks really nice and that it looks like it's just meant to be there. And I think that I have not taken note of where the signage is located yet, but we'll take another look at that and make sure that if there are signs that are blocking the views, that we can try to relocate them into a better place, as long as we still have enough signage where people understand what's going on and what they're supposed to know by way of that signage, and they're not too far apart. But we'll take a look at that. And that's about it. Any questions?
Thank you. Questions?
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thanks. And then do you want to speak to the finance report?
Yeah, just a few topics from Superintendent Foy's report. We are ahead of our operating fund surplus by nearly $1 million. Some of that has to do with timing. We changed the collection time of our registration and then collecting for our camps by a month. Rather than have to explain to the board every month, it's a timing issue. We don't want to make it sound so simple. We are going to we're going to correct the allocations on a monthly basis. So we're going to go back and look at January and February and what should have been there, and maybe it was in March, but it should have been in February because we changed our registration times. So when we bring you the quarterly report, which we're going to do next month, you'll see the first quarter report, which will talk about the revenues and the expenses and the variances on those, and there'll be an explanation for the larger variances. And we don't want to have to keep saying it's a timing issue. Sometimes it's going to be, but we don't want that to be our fallback. That's a timing issue. So we're going to correct those. We will reissue those financials so you'll know. Bottom line, no dollars will change. Where the dollars are placed in which month might change a little bit. And then the electricity commodity. The way many municipal governments do the electricity, it's a consortium. And NIMEC is the one we've worked with for years. They go out to bid, and then literally the day the bids come in, we need to go yes or no. And it doesn't coincide with our board meetings. So the resolution in the packet is to give me the authority to sign that contract when the bids come in, which we thought we were going to be today, but 2 weeks ago they were super high because of the market. So we chose not to look at them that time. So hopefully the bids coming in today or tomorrow will be a little bit lower. And the solar subscription, the solar farm, Commissioner Murdoch had several questions on this, and with Superintendent Foy not here, I don't have those answers. So, and then the audit, hopefully we will see a draft of it at the next meeting. Oh, and I thought this was kind of interesting, that IT had a security vendor for cybersecurity assessment, and we'll be getting a report on that in April, which is always something I don't think people pay much attention to until it's too late. correct, Commissioner Leahy?
Yes.
Did anybody fall
But
for
I
one
think
of the fishing
just-
tests this month?
I have not. I actually,
Did not?
I haven't looked
This month.
recently, but as of a week ago, I was the top scoring board member, but that's not easily. But the thing about the security assessments is those are often sales.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
We've run it, but that it's a great thing to do. Just don't be afraid if you're
Right.
shocked.
Yeah,
like, oh,
right.
everything's bad.
Right.
So for the benefit of the board and our public listening, Commissioner Murdoch, will you share your questions so we
Well, can we get to that agenda item
Okay.
for the solar
Yeah,
farm?
before we get there, I just wanted to answer some of the outstanding questions that were posed to us in public comment.
Right. Are we done with the finance report then?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, go ahead.
My first one, expand the area around the boats by Alan Golden. Who will, comment on that from staff? Is that Megan? Will that fall to Megan, or just have you
Dave
had
will
a conversation with
report,
her yet?
but
No.
Megan will be probably giving us advice on what she feels is the best thing for the operations down there.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I would say reach out to them, to get that conversation started, see what they say. A lot of the other questions were either comments or were addressed already. Getting down to the new benches, if we maybe next month maybe have a comment about that from our new Parks and Planning, and then Mr. Wilmette, the town crier. Just a town crier doesn't mean he cries a lot. Town crier means he cries out the news. That's what it comes
That's
from.
correct.
Yeah. But to the Beth Hallel site, he says sell it and get it back on the tax roll. Well, the synagogue was a tax exempt entity that's owned it for 60 years. I can't remember exactly how long. So it really hasn't been on our tax roll. So to say to get it back on the tax roll is a misnomer because we're a tax exempt entity as well. Those were my comments.
Thank you. So we'll move on to our unfinished business. 6.1, the consideration of the solar farm agreement. As we said, you have some questions. You want to go ahead and start?
So I'm actually going to move to table the solar farm agreement from SunCentral LLC.
Second.
Discussion?
So, Commissioner Frazier, you had asked some questions. So probably at least in my opinion, the most important document in the agreement is Appendix D, which probably lists some rate information, and that's blank at this point. So we don't have that information. And, it's in the entirety of the agreement, as it's been presented to us, there is no rate information. So I think we're all under the impression that this will save us some money. And I think there were some estimates and some calculations. It's in the form of credits as opposed to rates per kilowatt hour. And those credits apparently can be applied toward utility costs, or they can be sold in the market. Obviously, in the market, the price may go up or might go down. So one of my questions is, if it turns out that those credits do not have value to us, will we be paying more, the same, or less than we would otherwise? And what restrictions are placed on us in terms of going into the market 2, 3, 5, 8 years down the road? This is a 10-year agreement with 2 automatic 5-year renewals. We're only obligated for the first 10 years. There is an out provision. Our legal counsel and I did talk about that. He had originally said that was sort of our safety valve, if you will, but he recognized that it's contingent upon the vendor finding a replacement for us. So until then, we still are obligated. So it's not quite maybe the safety valve that we had hoped it might be. I think there was some discussion about how he did propose some changes to the document, and they weren't willing to do them. I think there should be some discussion about that, although I think I personally am comfortable with where that stands. I think it's something we should all have a chance to ask a little bit about and get comfortable with, because it is a 10-year commitment. And we've seen, I think, to the discussion earlier, even over the course of the last few weeks, we've seen wild swings in utility costs. And so we should all understand exactly what we're committing the district to for a decade or longer.
Any further discussion?
I guess one of my questions is there a time frame on signing this? So if we table it and it's going till next month, will this still be an option? Or is there a time frame to?
I don't know the answer to that. I tried to reach out to Superintendent Foy at 7 o'clock this evening. I sent her a text and said, I sent you an email. If you get this, can you answer it? And that's why I checked my phone a bit ago to see if she'd answered it yet. But
And I asked the question as well and didn't get an answer. But by the way, I think it's probably worth saying, I think you and I have probably been most vocal about the importance of solar, although everyone on the board certainly is. We've championed the project at CRC. I'm definitely in favor of community solar. I just want to make sure we know what it is we're committing to for a decade.
Can we get an example of, it's literally called Illinois Community Solar Subscription Agreement. Presumably there are others that have signed these agreements and have run across some sort of similar situations. Can we get? I'm not familiar if references is the right term, but
yes, there are other agencies. And the one comment about the attorney wanted some change of language that they did not agree to. We went back to the attorney and he said, it's not a deal breaker. We just like a little more indemnification. More than likely, if you go to another supplier for this, they're going to have the same language in there. So
I'm just wondering if like Northfield uses these, and that might help us ease some of the idea if this is a boilerplate contract or if it's not. But I
that's a great point.
Not having Appendix D might have a reasonable explanation, but I think it's important. At least I'd like to know.
And is it correct? This came to us via the consultant, the E4, or there was a consultant. So there's, I believe I learned about this consultant in the back of our IAPD magazine, but there was a big advertisement several years ago when we were trying to find someone that could help us price out our solar panels. And I said, hey, can these people help? And they weren't in that market, but she found them useful for this. But I would hope that as that consultancy, they are in the business of vetting these out, presenting to us what they hope is the best option. I still support, given that we don't have the pricing and the important addendum in the contract.
And I hope this is a 1 month issue and then we're good to go. I certainly support the concept of community solar, absolutely.
If Superintendent were here tonight, that we could ask her the questions, but since she's not, I'm comfortable postponing this. Did you have something else?
No, I think that brought up some questions that maybe postponing it, if then it might be wise to postpone for a month.
So then we don't need a motion, is that correct? We just move
we
on
had a
from that
motion
one.
and a second. Do we need a vote?
But the motion was to table
table,
it,
so we
so
still
we're not.
vote on the
We still vote on the motion to table.
Just in case, let's vote on tabling it. Let's take a roll call. Are you in favor of tabling the topic till next month?
Commissioner Leahy?
Yes.
Commissioner Frazier?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Goebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch?
Yes.
Commissioner Duffy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowskis?
Yes. So just be careful to note on the cover line that to table. Very
Yeah.
good. Okay, thanks. So into new business, 7.1, the consideration of the resolution. Do I have a motion for it? I'll just let you guys read it. Thank
I
you.
move to approve Resolution 2025-R-2 for the purchase of electricity from the lowest cost electricity provider.
Second.
Any discussion on this one? This is the one where we're authorizing Margaret to act when the time is right. Roll call?
Commissioner Leahy?
Yes.
Commissioner Frazier?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Goebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch?
Yes.
Commissioner Duffy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowskis?
Yes. 7.2, the wheels on the bus. We have a motion.
Yes, I move to approve the purchase of a 60-passenger bus not to exceed $170,000 through the TIPS Interlocal Purchasing Cooperative.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is great.
This is great.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
great
very good
too.
idea, yeah.
The only discussion or question I would have, I think we had originally budgeted a substantially higher number. Do you have any
Yes.
insight to where
I
the
don't-
original number came from and how we can tighten up this budgeting moving
No.
forward?
I think we mentioned to the board a meeting or two ago that we're looking at budgeted equipment and budgeted projects over the last few years to see where they actually came in, to see if there's a pattern of certain departments are budgeting high, and it's very common to put in inflationary numbers. We know it's going to go up, but the difference for what we're even the 180 to 200 was way lower than the 350, which was originally suggested. So,
Great,
but
thank you.
we're looking
Thanks
to
for
see
looking
if
into
there's
it.
a
That's
pattern.
great. Looking forward to hearing about that.
And for the record, I'm sorry.
Go Go ahead.
I asked, wishfully if there was an electric bus option, and I was informed it was upwards of $1 million or higher. So for this year, we'll take the bus that's in Oklahoma.
So my question, where we are right now is that we are giving you staff direction to go investigate this bus to make sure it's the bus that we'd like to purchase.
No.
This is to purchase.
So it has already been investigated.
Yes, as much as it can be from a distance. I mean, if we actually even talked about our staff going there to drive it back and then possibly even taking our bus as a trade-in, but we don't know that our bus will
Might not make it.
And that would require, at least 2 staff and several days. We did get a delivery charge of, I think it was $1,600, somewhere around there. That's why we put in 170, not to, because there's probably tax, title, and licensing that's going to get thrown in there. It's a brand new, it's a 2024 model.
Yeah.
But it's never been driven,
Right.
technically, so we'll make sure there's a warranty.
Well, no, Mike, when we first started discussing this, there was a conversation about going to investigate the bus as part of the direction we were going to give you.
Right.
And now the direction has changed to we are buying this bus. And so I wanted to know if the bus had been investigated, approved, as opposed to just, okay, let's.
Yeah, we feel comfortable that because it's a reputable manufacturer, it's a reputable dealer. It's not in Aurora. We can't just drive out there and look at it.
Understood.
So that was probably the biggest hurdle for us to investigate. And it's also, if somebody, if we go to investigate tomorrow, if somebody shows up before us and buys it, it's gone. We don't have a hold on the bus. We can't put a deposit down.
No. So I understand, and my thought was similar to what you just said, which was, well, can we have maybe, can we find a partner park district that has somebody that could go investigate it for us? Maybe we pay them a fee or something like that, but then all of a sudden, if they like it, then they could buy it, and we wouldn't have a bus. Right. So, okay.
Let's go get the bus.
Yeah, it's worth the
Let's
risk
vote.
given the delivery time, yeah.
Commissioner Leahy?
Yes.
Commissioner Frazier?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Goebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch?
Yes.
Commissioner Duffy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowskis?
Yes. All right, that brings us to 8.0. Thank you to everyone who stayed for our meeting. We're going to adjourn to closed session.
I move to adjourn to closed session to review minutes of prior meetings lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act for the purpose of review, approval, or release of such minutes in accordance with Section 2C21 of the Open Meetings Act.
I'll second it.
In lieu of discussion, I will just mention this is a routine part of business that we are required to do, so we will do our routine business in this moment.
We're going to do a routine.
It's not anything new or unusual, just for those that might wonder about the legalities of the details and new things. Let's vote.
Commissioner Leahy?
Yes.
Commissioner Frazier?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Goebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch?
Yes.
Commissioner Duffy?
Yes.
Kozlowskis?
Yes.
Well, for
During the
comment.
closed session. Thank you.